Gentlemen, Antonio here. Today we're going to talk about sunglasses. Specifically, I'm going to help you find the perfect pair for you. What I don't want to have happen is you go out there and you buy an expensive pair of sunglasses and you never wear them. Guys, that's the worst thing that can happen. In today's video, I'm going to give you 3 tips, general tips about buying sunglasses. Then I'm going to get ultra specific. I'm going to talk about 6 face shapes and 5 styles and which styles to avoid with the face shapes and which ones are pretty good. And then I'm going to get into a little bit more. But guys, go check out the free ebook. I've got it for you right here. In that free ebook, I cover a lot more. I talk about frame types, frame materials, lens types, lens materials, all of that I get into right in here. I'm not going to be able to cover all of that in today's quick video, but again, it's covered right here in this free ebook, which you can grab. All right, guys, so let's get into tip number 1. Confidence. You have to be confident in whatever you are putting on your face. So yes, make sure those sunglasses just make you feel great. And the best way to do that, go into a store in person, try them on, look in the mirror and say, do I like this? Go with your gut instinct, guys. This is going to point you usually in the right path. Sunglasses are all about confidence. It's all about feeling great in them and being able to carry yourself. And if you don't have that, guys, nothing else is going to matter. I can tell you, you can have the right sunglasses for the right face shape, and it's not going to matter if you're not confident in those glasses. So tip number 2 is to buy the best pair that you can comfortably afford. I know a lot of you guys like to save money and get the 3 for $20. The problem with that is that you treat them like really cheap sunglasses. So you don't buy a case, you throw them around, you're like, oh, they're just cheapos. So you mistreat them, they break down, you just don't care for them. And you never feel great because if you look at the selection, oftentimes they're made more poorly. They're just not as good a quality. The lens are definitely not very good quality. When you spend good money, sometimes a little bit more than what you're comfortable spending, these are going to be the most expensive glasses you've ever bought. But you put them on and you feel great. You look great. And guess what, guys? You start to take care of those sunglasses. You buy them a case. You actually don't throw them around. You clean them not with your shirt, but with actually a special cloth. They're actually made of a higher quality material, so they start to last longer. I can tell you, I've got glasses that are 8 years old. And before that, I had the El Cheapos. And those El Cheapos I treated like that. And they broke within usually a few days, if not a couple months. But I can tell you, because I now treat these better and I feel better every time I wear them. I get compliments because I feel confident in those glasses, and because I treat them well, they have lasted a long time. So guys, don't be afraid to spend a little bit more. You're going to feel better every time you wear them. Tip number 3 is to experiment with a variety of styles. Men, we are creatures of habit. We find something that works for us and we stay with it. And you possibly have been wearing the same style for 10, 20, maybe 30 years. If that is the case, guys, consider changing it up. But I'm not talking about going to a wild style. Well, I'm talking about, okay, maybe you like Aviators, maybe you like Wayfarers. All of a sudden, you start going with maybe a variation in the color. You start changing up the tint of the lens. You maybe go with something, but stick with something classic. So if you like Wayfarers, you try Aviators. The point is, guys, is experiment. Get outside of your comfort zone. Because glasses are worn right here on the face and they're worn during the summer, they are very much a style accessory. So you can change it up. It can really change your overall look. So I do recommend each man, maybe have 1, 2 extra pairs out there. I know some of you guys probably have 10 pairs of sunglasses. Now let's talk about sunglass styles and let's talk about the face shapes that they complement and they don't complement. I summarize all of this in a chart. You can go check it out right over here. This chart's going to go into a lot more detail than I'm going to quickly cover here. But right now, let's start off with one of the most classic men's styles out there, Aviators. I can tell you I'm starting with Aviators because they work with pretty much every face shape out there. So if you've got a round face, if you have a square face, if you have a rectangle face, if you have a heart-shaped face, it is most likely Aviators are going to work. What you want to be careful of with Aviators, though, is that there are variations. There are thicknesses of the frames that will change. So if you're going to go with square-shaped Aviators, be careful. Go back to that first rule. All of a sudden, if you have a square-shaped face, you probably don't want to go with square-shaped Aviators. You want to maybe look at something that's more teardrop. Now, teardrop, you want to be careful if you have a round-shaped face. But overall, you go with a classic pair of Aviators. They're going to do a great job for protection, and there's a reason why they're classic. They've been around for a long time, and they work for a wide variety of men. Now, let's go to Wayfarers. So Wayfarers, by just basically the way that they're built up, they are going to be more square. So the one face shape that needs to be really careful here are going to be square-faced men. So if you have a square face, be careful of Wayfarers. I'm not saying you can't pull it off, but it's going to be much harder than if you have, let's say, a round-shaped face or an oval-shaped face. The key, if you've got an oval or a rectangle-shaped face, is to make sure the Wayfarers are not too wide. Now let's talk about round frames. In general, not one of my favorites, but I know a lot of people like it, and it can work to soften the edges, especially if you have a square face shaped. If you perhaps have a head that is going to be shaped like a diamond, or if you have a rectangle. In those cases, then definitely round shaped lenses can help. Again, size is going to be very important. Next, let's talk about the Clubmaster. So Clubmaster is where we have half of a frame. Usually up here at the top, you're going to see a heavier frame. Now, Clubmasters are going to work out really well if you've got a round shaped face, or if you actually have one that is going to be a little bit thinner. They can actually help, again, but you don't want to go too far out. Otherwise, it's going to draw too much attention to the glasses and it's going to make them look a bit odd. In addition, it's also going to work well with a triangle and a heart-shaped face as well. Now, the final style I want to cover here is going to be the wraparound. Made very popular nowadays with sports and all types of sunglasses like that. I'm going to say pretty much they work with any face shape because of the function, and that's the first thing you need to focus on with sunglasses, is making sure that you're wearing them for the right function. These are mostly going to be sport oriented. The key here is to get the right size. So if you have a really narrow head, you don't want something that's really going to be out there and wrapping around that's just going to look odd, so make sure that you bring it in to the right size. I would say if any face shape needs to be careful of the wraparound, it's actually going to be the rounded face. Sometimes it can just look a little bit odd. So I alluded to it in the last section, but let's talk about glasses size. So if you look on the inside of the arm of a pair of sunglasses, or sometimes prescription glasses as well, you'll usually see 3 sizes, especially if it's a higher quality sunglass. What we're going to see is the first size is actually going to be the lens width. Then the second size is going to be the bridge width, and the last one is going to be the length of the actual arm right there of the sunglasses. Why does this matter? Well, it doesn't matter if you have a regular, normal, sized head, which about, half the population does. And so you'll be able to pull off whatever most likely the company is putting out. But if you have a smaller head, if you have a larger head, which is going to be the other half of the population, all of a sudden you want to have something that is going to be proportional to the size of your head. Guys, that's why, getting back to point number 1 about confidence, it's so important that you try them on and you look at how you get a gut reaction that they're too big, a gut reaction that they're too small. If that's the case, then look to size up, and that's when you would actually want to search online. You can oftentimes, specialty retailers will actually give you, one size but a little bit larger overall proportionally, and it's just going to look so much better. In addition, it's going to be more comfortable. Now guys, I've covered a lot in this video, but like I said, I cover a lot more in the ebook. In the ebook, I talk about all different types of frames, talk about full frames, half frames, no frames. I talk about the frame materials. We go into each of the lenses. We talk about coverings and coatings. We talk about lens colors and why they matter. Guys, a lot more in the ebook. It's free right here for you. And again, I would love to hear from you guys down in the comments. What is your favorite style? What is your favorite type of sunglasses? What did I miss and what would you like to see? Guys, take care. I'll see you in the next video.